Why, hello there. My name is Mountain, and today I'd like to talk to you about this. And what is this, you might ask? Well, this is the Black Ember TKS, or Tech Kit Sling. Now, as the name TKS, Tech Kit Sling suggests, this is the combination Tech Kit and Sling, or at least it's supposed to be, manufactured by a company called Black Ember, a San Francisco-based brand known for their modular waterproof bags and very distinct high-tech aesthetic and kind of really modern, unusual materials here. Now, this bag's main claim to fame is its sleek, high-tech design, as well as the fact that it has these great materials I talked about, has a built-in accordion pocket, which you don't really see in a lot of bags. That's this right here that I'm going to show you in a moment. And it is in fact supposed to be a combination Tech Kit Sling, which I don't think I've seen in any other bags out in the market these days. Now, conversely, its main weaknesses include its overall tightness. You can already see this bag is bulging out at the seams and it's not very heavily packed out. It has a very stiff axis. You can see me kind of struggling with these zippers here and needing two hands. And it has a very inefficient usage of space, limited capacity, and a difficult to adjust, surprisingly short strap, which is tucked into the back here. Now, it retails for $106 and is available in any color you want as long as that color is black. Unlike most of Black Ember's things, this particular product is not really modular, although you can buy a kind of key clip that will modify this existing key clip that's attached to the inside of the bag and make it just a little bit easier to use. Actually, this key just came out here. I've been begrudgingly using this particular bag as my main EDC sling for about a month now, and I use that and I pair it with the Black Ember Shadow here. This is the smaller Shadow pack, which shares a lot of obviously the same kind of design aesthetic and elements as you would expect, including but not limited to an internal accordion pocket on the inside of this bag that I think works a lot better on this bag than it does on the TKS sling. But more on that when I do my full review of this Black Ember Shadow bag. So talking about this bag here, before we get into it, I guess I should make a comment that longtime viewers of my channel might notice that my current setup is a little bit different than my normal one. I'm in the process of moving my recording studio. So please bear with me while I get this kind of sorted out here. Hopefully you'll be able to see everything you need to on this bag. Now, in terms of who this bag is for and who it's not for, well, this bag is going to be for folks who enjoy modern, high-tech materials and design. Like I said, this is got a lot of cool things, from the fidlock buckles to the hypalon to this micro hex fabric to the there's some aluminum hardware, I think, in little bits here or whatever. It's going to be for folks who, so I guess also if you're into that tech wear vibe, this is a cool looking sling anyway, and I think it's also might be for people who don't need to carry very much and are willing to make significant compromises in function and usability for the sake of this kind of sleek form and design. And conversely, I don't think this bag is going to be great for people who need to carry much beyond the basics, either as a sling or as a tech kit. People who are in the market for a good tech kit, there are much, much better choices out there. Virtually all of them are better than this. And anybody who's a little bit larger or more muscular, the straps on this bag here, let me just go ahead and pull them out here, are actually fairly insubstantial and very short. So you might have trouble kind of getting this to fit comfortably if you're a little bit more muscular. So with that out of the way, next, let's talk about the external design of the bag. So I did pull out the straps here, which are tucked away, and I'll talk about them in a moment here. So this is how it looks kind of in sling mode, as it were, on your body like this. Now, this particular bag, the first thing you're going to notice, obviously, is that high-tech design, right? Look at this waterproof YKK zipper. This material they refer to as a micro hex HTX. It's got a high tenacity 3-layer waterproof fabric. It is very, very water resistant. I will say that. I've been in a few rainstorms with this. I did notice that everything inside stayed dry. You're going to notice, I think, also just the really kind of, it has a very definitive structure to it in terms of just kind of like it's a big square or sort of rectangular thing. Lots of structure. The front does have this kind of a little bit of built-in dimension. Talk about this pocket in a moment here, but it's a bag that has a certain idea of what it wants to look like. You'll notice that it's, I think I mentioned it's 2.5 liters, which you would think could hold a fair amount. It's a very inefficient 2.5 liters, and it is kind of dense and blocky. as a result of all that structure and the way that everything is really jammed into this really inefficient usage of space. So this is definitely a dense sling, more so than many others out on the market here. It sort of stands up on its own, sort of, I say. And I mention that because normally that's not a thing I look for in a sling, but since this is supposed to be a tech kit as well, you know, you kind of do expect a tech kit to stand open on its own. It can kind of fillet open like this, and then you can sort of access the accordion pocket, but it's not nearly as convenient as a lot of other tech pouches, which would more properly stand, you know, on their own. Here, let me struggle to put this thing back together. Overall, though, I think it is a very sleek and dense visual aesthetic, very high-tech looking. The materials are great. Again, I mentioned this Hypalon loops with the Black Ember branding, and then the laser cut, and then you've got this fidlock buckles both on the inside and the outside. I'm a big fan of fidlock buckles. Overall, very nice and distinct materials, and I haven't seen this particular type of fabric anywhere else. I really like the fabric in terms of its properties and how, to a certain extent, this bag looks. Now, the next thing we should maybe talk about are the external straps on this bag. So there is one little, you know, so I should be clear, I'm going to talk about this primarily from the, I guess, sling perspective, and then touch on briefly its usage as a tech kit, because I just think it's a really terrible tech kit, so I don't really see most people using this as their primary tech kit. So, first thing, so talking about straps here, first thing you notice, there's a little hang loop on one corner of the bag. I don't personally find this that useful. I don't think I really ever used it for anything. It's a sling, has a built-in strap, so it's just so much easier just to hang it by the strap off of a chair or something. As you find, it is very dense too, so it's just, I don't know, I didn't find it hung very well from this little loop, but it is there if you want to use it for something. Now the next thing is this stowable main strap, and I did mention it's stowable, so let me show you how it stows away. So there's this pass-through pocket in the back, runs the flat length of the bag here, and what we do is you kind of fold it in here carefully and sort of stuff it one strap in like this. Try and get it as flat as possible. You can see there, even though I'm trying to get it as flat as possible, there still is this bulge. And then the other one, which has a longer loop, you have to be, it's a little bit more fiddly. Just try and fold it in as carefully and flat as possible and kind of push it in there. And you can see this is so-so, sorry, the loop's in the way here. This is so-so. There is definitely a bulge, as you can see, at the top of the bag, and it takes up a lot of it adds a significant amount of thickness to the back of the bag, no matter kind of how careful you are. This is not the best I could have done, but it's certainly not a bad job. I think most people would stuff it in right around like this. It's not great. Now, there are significant issues with this strap. So let me start with the one nice thing about the strap when it's deployed, which is it has this fidlock buckle. It's very, very easy to, you know, clip and unclip. You just pull this tab here, and then it unclips, and then it just locks right in place with magnets. How do they work? This is great. It looks cool. I think it's a solid choice for the overall kind of like high-tech vibe that they're going for. But I found that like buckling and unbuckling the bag, like this fidlock lies somewhere towards the, not quite the middle of the bag, but sorry, I might actually have the strap twisted here. It lies not quite in the middle of the bag, but kind of, you know, over what would be like, you know, right this part of your body if you're wearing it, like, you know, over your left shoulder. I just found it really fun, not fiddly, but it's just difficult because of the thinness of the straps of this bag to operate the fidlock buckle to don and undon it. So I just usually set it at a length and then just threw it over my shoulder. So in a way, like, and actually let me demonstrate what I mean. So if I unbuckle the fidlock here and I try and swing the bag over my shoulder, so this is what happens. This actually happens. I didn't do that on purpose. Because the bag is very dense and compact, as I mentioned, it does tend to swing around quite awkwardly. And so you're kind of sort of like that. And then if you want to take it off, you pull the fidlock and then the bag swings down like this. It's very heavy and dense. So normally I keep the buckle like that and I just swing it over my shoulder and then swing it off of my shoulder like this. So when I talk about some of the problems with this strap on this bag, the first one is just too thin. You can see this is a very thin and insubstantial strap for a bag that is this dense and heavy when it's packed out. And they do have like these wings here to try and kind of, give you some stability on the cross on your body when you're wearing it. But in reality, it just is not a very stable bag. And I wouldn't say it cuts into you too much. Like it is thin, but doesn't cut into you, but it's just not very stable. So it's not painful because it's heavy on a thin strap, but it's very unstable, and that makes it uncomfortable and difficult to use here. Now, I didn't enjoy wearing this bag with this strap here. Now, the second problem I have with this strap here is that it's actually relatively short. So as you can see, this is nearly fully extended out. There's just a little bit more I could squeeze out here and here. I'm not, the largest person in the world, so I think that anyone, it fits. It's not painful, but it's tighter than I would prefer. But it's certainly not like, it's certainly not very confidence inspiring for anybody who would be a little bit larger than myself. And I've seen similar kind of complaints online, people saying that this strap is a little bit short. Now, I think that the next problem is sort of related to that, but also slightly separate, which is this strap is not easy to adjust. So you can see to adjust the length, there's this aluminum hardware with this kind of Hypalon pull tab. There's a D-ring here, and then you're supposed to kind of, in theory, you would expect you could just pull this and it would shorten up. There's a similar one here, except there's no pull tab here. It's just this with a slider buckle. In reality, you have to, it doesn't work that way. You can't like pull to adjust it or tighten it up. You have to take it off, loosen up this D-ring portion here, and then slide it with two hands. And there's a lot of friction, go like this or whatever. So what this means is with a normal sling, right, what you would do is you throw it over your shoulder, you loosen it up a little bit, throw it over your shoulder, yank down, and then it tightens up, right? And then it's secure to your body. With this one, you can't do that. So what happens is, let's say I loosen it up like this, use two hands. So now it's loose, so it's a little bit easier to get on. And then if I want to tighten it up, I can't really. First of all, you can see it just kind of comes off to the side. I can't tighten it. That means that in practice, I end up leaving it just a little bit, right around the length that I would want to wear it, but that makes donning the bag or taking it off a little bit more frictionful than I would like. That they're trying to do a combination Tech Kit and Sling. A normal sling doesn't, and this is the compromise that is just the worst of both worlds. Now, a normal sling doesn't have to worry about stowing the strap, so they don't need to use a thinner strap. They don't need to use shorter strap, which are both choices I think they made in order to make it stow easily, quote unquote easily, into this back panel whilst reducing the amount of depth that it takes up. But in reality, it still takes up a bunch of depth, as I showed you. It still is a little bit, annoying to stow, and it's not very stable or comfortable and not easy to adjust when you're wearing it. So it's sort of the worst of all worlds, I guess, or several worlds when it comes to the compromises they made to make this bag ostensibly function as both a tech kit like this and a sling, as I just showed you. So next, let's talk about this front pocket. I'm gonna just go ahead and leave the straps stowed for right now. So the front pocket is the only kind of quick access external pocket you have on here. And it's intended to be used for your phone and your keys. And this is very clearly for that, and I'll show you why in a second. So there's this center YKK AquaGuard zipper here. I like it. I like the way it looks. A very distinct detail is they have these zipper garages with counter pulls integrated, made out of Hypalon, that I think is awesome. It also theoretically allows you to run the nice Hypalon branded laser cut, branded with Black Ember logo on there. Pull tabs through these zipper garages and kind of yank them tight, and then you can see they lock into here. Don't really lock, but they kind of pull into there. You can pull it a little bit further. And the idea is it's very hard for a pickpocket or somebody to access, unzip the bag without you knowing. Now, in truth, there's plenty of friction to all these zippers. I doubt anyone could unzip this bag without you noticing it, but it is a really nice touch, and if nothing else, it lends a lot of waterproofness to the bag itself. Now, one problem is you can see I didn't even pull this through all the way, but now it's actually very difficult for myself to work it loose, even though I'm the owner of the bag. And again, you can see like I'm literally having some issues trying to work this zipper out. So I don't really see myself using this. I never use it other than once or twice to try it. Like I never use this functionality. And I think you'd have to think really long and hard about like if that struggle is worth it for you, especially because your phone is supposed to go in here. Also, I like that this kind of zipper garage covers the normal kind of gap that you would have in a waterproof zipper, which might let water get in. So that's actually a really nice touch. Now, pull this open. Again, some stiffness on here, but thanks to the Hypalon, long Hypalon loop, it's very easy to pull it open. And then that reveals the center compartment. And inside of here, I have my phone here, my keys, and then a chapstick. So let's start with the easy one, chapstick. Good for preventing chapped lips, I suppose. And then my keys, which are attached to this integrated key ring. And this key ring has a magnetic fidlock buckle, and it just clips in and out. The actual ring itself is just a normal split D-ring type of thing, so it's not really great. I'm using a carabiner, on a James brand carabiner on mine, which just lets it clip in and out easily. You can also buy, they sell like a separate attachment that has like a little bit of a quick release clamp on here. Personally though, I think like it's fine because you can leave your keys on here, and because it has an integrated fidlock buckle, you don't really need, I don't think they're a separate, key leash thing. This works just fine. It comes on and off. And then inside there is a single pocket which has my phone. This is an iPhone 11 Pro, and this has like a kind of zipper mesh on it. Now, there is one other feature here, which you can see a cable coming out. That's from an internal USB battery that I'll show you in a second. Internal meaning I added it, it's not built into the bag. And that's this pass-through for this charging cable. The idea is you're supposed to slide your phone in here, screen inward, port out. I guess screen could be outward as well, but I'll talk about why inward in a second. And then you just connect the charger in here from the battery that you have on the main compartment, and then theoretically the bag can charge while you're walking, or your phone can charge while you're walking around. Now, there are several problems with this front pocket, and I'm going to start with number one is it's just way too tight. So again, I have a very reasonable set. I have like a car keys and then a house key and like one other small key, and then a normal sized iPhone 11 Pro phone, and then like a chapstick. And you can already see, I'm going to try and zip this up. Look at how it bulges out. This pocket does have some dimension built into it, but it's already stressed at this. I actually had to switch to a slightly smaller key ring because the previous one, which wasn't that much larger, just wouldn't fit. It would like press against the phone, and it was so tight I was fighting with it in and out. This also means it's very difficult to access the phone out of this pocket because you can see everything's jumbled up when you're wearing the bag because your keys are in the way. And also, keys and phone in the same area is not generally a recipe for success. But it is doable. It's just extremely frictionful. Now, watch this. I had the bag on the table. I've got a stable surface that I've been working with it. Now, imagine wearing it as a sling. So you take this open, you want to get your phone, and then, okay, now we're doing this thing. Take your phone out, take your photo, whatever you need to do, and then you're trying to fight it back in. This is not, you can see the keys are kind of hanging out there. It zips up. This is not a pleasant interaction at all. It's very tight. And here's the thing, this is an iPhone 11 Pro, but I also often use an iPhone 12 Pro Max, depending. I have a couple different phones here. Oh, it's caught on the keys here actually a little bit. Like this is not a great pocket if you want to, I mean, you can fit a larger phone like a 12 Pro Max in there, but it's not a pleasant interaction. And everything just feels like it's straining or at the edge, and it just looks ugly, and it's very hard to get in and out when it's wearing, when you're wearing it as a sling. It's not great. It's not a good pocket for a phone. Now, there's one other problem, which I'll talk about here in a second, but you can see this is the inside surface. and you can see something is poking through, and that's because of how tight the accordion pocket is. More on that here in just a moment. Close this pocket up, and let's get into the main compartment. Now the main compartment has the same YKK AquaGuard zips, 2 zipper pulls, same Hypalon loops, and they don't have the zipper garages, but I find it's quite easy just kind of counter pulls, but they just kind of counter pull against each other. Okay, now there's some problems with this, which is one, this is a very frictionful access. You can see, again, I've got it on the table, I'm using both hands, I'm pulling hard. When you've got it slung over like this, again, it's two-handed interaction, but it gets caught on the corners. So you get your stuff out, you do whatever, now you got one hand here, right one's, it gets caught on this corner again, like this. Okay, it's not, again, this is not the best interaction in the world, very, very frictionful. So we open this up, again, getting caught around the corners here, and the bag kind of pops open like this. And then first thing you notice is like there's not much usable space, if any, in the main compartment, other than the 2 compartments that are already kind of integrated into the bag. And that is important because like normally in a sling you would have like just a drop-in kind of area that you could use. If I take like this Anker wireless battery, I guess you could sort of stuff it in there. Like it's not pleasant. Like I kind of stuff it in there, but it's stuffed. Like there's not like a nice drop-in pocket. I'm pushing it in against the volumes of the other compartments. So that was kind of a little bit surprising for me that there's no easy in and out access. Like open the bag and then you have to open another compartment really to do anything unless you have something just flat that you're okay with just flapping here. Now there's another problem with having, you know, no dedicated kind of drop-in. Again, if you're wearing the bag and you unzip it, when you zip it, it flaps open, so anything you have in here would fall out. So that's again why they have these 2 pouches integrated inside of the main compartment, but it does affect, I think, usability. Now the first thing you're going to notice in here is this accordion pocket, and let's just flip it over here so you can see. There's a pen loop on the outside here, which I have here, just a James brand Benton pen. It's fine. Like I also sometimes throw that into this back mesh pocket because I find this a little bit fiddly, but okay. It's in there. And then you have this fidlock buckle, which is extremely unusual. I don't think I've ever seen a fidlock buckle on the inside of a bag like this. And then this Hypalon loop that holds the accordion pocket shut. So you pull this thing open and the accordion pocket pops open. Here's what it looks like from the side. You get this little accordion here, and that's what it looks like in there. You do have this, I folded this flat back just for the purpose of this video. Normally you wouldn't do that, right? You do have this kind of high contrast gray nylon liner here. Now, there's a lot that's not great about this accordion pocket, so let me start with the few positives that come to mind. Number one is it's a cool concept. Like I like the idea of an accordion pocket, but with built-in organizer inside of a bag. I will say, as I mentioned briefly at the outset of this video, in the Black Ember Shadow pack, it also has this accordion pocket, and I think it works a lot better in this bag than it does inside of this sling, even though they're basically, I think they're basically the same size. But the reason is that the Black Ember bag has a lot of places to put other stuff. So you are not so limited by, I guess, like the limitations of the accordion's size and capacity, which I'll talk about here in a second. But anyway, so it is a cool concept of built-in organization. The fidlock buckle is cool. It does, as I mentioned, address the problem that when you're wearing this thing and you open it, like contents might fall out. No, it keeps it shut in here. That's nice. That's about all the nice things I can say about this accordion pocket. Now, all the bad things. Number one, first and foremost, is this thing is incredibly tight. This is a relatively small loadout for a 2.5 liter sling, and this thing is bursting at the seams. So let me show you. So first thing, we pop this open, and you can see the way that it looks is this is the front, I've got the, let me show you, I've got the bag just flipped over here for these purposes. This is the front of the bag with the main zipper pocket, and then I've just kind of flipped this around so you can see. So normally you'd be looking at the, look at the accordion pocket from this direction if you were wearing the bag. So in the back there is a larger, slightly larger kind of big pocket here with the pass-through that I showed you earlier. That lets you pass through a cable from a power bank into the front pocket to charge. I have here an extremely thin, I think this one's only like 3,000 or 3,500 milliamps, Anchor battery with a built-in lightning cord, because this thing is so tight that anything thicker, this is a wireless charger for the MagSafe phones, but it's a little bit thicker, as you can see. Anything larger, like it really, I worried about breaking. Like you could actually see, and I try and close this thing, it doesn't close, like forces it closed, so you can see it's straining, it's bursting, and then it's just pushing way out here. I worry about it cracking the screen on my phone. And obviously you're gonna want the screen facing inwards so that your keys don't scratch it, because the keys are also in that front pocket. So I found like the thinnest, battery charger I could find and stuck it in there. It sort of works, but okay. Next, there you have a middle 2 rows of pockets. These are 50% of capacity each. Next, there's one large full width compartment here. Sorry, this flap gets in the way here. So back compartment, then this and this as the two kind of half 50% width pockets. Then you've got the big full width pocket, and then you've got two very tight flat pockets in the front here. Inside, in terms of what I have in here, I already showed you I have the USB battery charger, or battery bank. I have a Lightning SD reader. I have just a cleaning cloth for the phone. Then in the next 50% pockets, I have a Bellroy Apex wallet. I have my AirPod Pros, some hand sanitizer. Actually, I should put this here so you can see everything we have in here. I have a James brand, I forget what this is called, Cash River or something like that. Just meant some coins here, and it's a small flashlight, just a few little I have inside of this main compartment, or inside of this accordion pocket. Now the problem is that is extremely tight already, and my kit is quite dialed out. So for example, this is the Bellroy Apex wallet is very, very thin. Most people's wallets are going to be significantly larger than this. Same thing here, which is, like I said, I got this really, really thin USB power bank, almost to the point that it may not even be worth carrying this thing. Most people would be carrying a larger power bank than this. And then the AirPods Pros are pretty small. Like if you have any kind of larger ones, like the Sony wireless earbuds or whatever, the case is significantly larger than this. And even getting that all into here, now I'm going to show you here, like if I put this in the back like this, put like this. Actually, before I do that, one more thing is, these pockets themselves are very tight. So as I was mentioning, like my wallet fits in here because it's so small, but I can't imagine any larger wallet would fit in there. Same thing, the AirPods fit in here, but they're already kind of bulging out a bit. I can't imagine that anybody with like a super dialed in kit is going to be able to fit much stuff in here. These front pockets are so flat and so tight, there's no give on anything, that they're only good for like SD cards or like flat cards like this, right? And then I try and close it, and you can see, here's a huge missed opportunity. Like this Hypalon doesn't stretch. This thing does not stretch, so that means you're fighting with it, and it's bulging at the seams. And it just seems to me like such a missed opportunity not to give this some elastic, because what's the point of having an accordion pocket if you can't use the accordionness of it or the expandability of it? So everything's just really tight. You can see it's bulging out here, and that's with a fairly dialed in kit. Now, that brings us to the back compartment. So I'm just not a fan of this. It's a great idea. It's just way too thick for too little capacity. The pockets are too tight. And this thing should stretch. It should stretch. Flipping around to the back mesh pocket. So this is supposed to be, they actually say on their site, you're supposed to be able to carry a packable wind shell in here. There's a center zip pocket, which again, I think it's a bit of a stretchy mesh, actually, I should mention. And a center zip pocket, which again, I feel is like a compromise because they're trying to do a Tech Kit and a Sling together. Like, it's supposed to be like, it makes sense if you flip the bag open like this, right? I'm sorry, like this. Then it makes sense to have a center, and you have it on the table splayed. Okay, it makes sense to have a center zip pocket. You can stretch the things open like, stretch it open like that, put stuff in there. But if you're wearing it as a sling, like this zip pocket should be at the top, because you open this up, stuff can fall out. It's also hard to load from this direction. So again, I feel like just kind of confusion. And even, to be honest, as a Tech Kit, it should load from the top. Now, flipping this pocket around here, front of the bag, back of the bag, open this up, and here I have masks in a mask case, just an phone stand, a notebook, little field note size notebook, and a little packable bag, and that's really it. It's like, this is supposed to be usable as a tech kit. If you're carrying any tech kitty goods, first of all, you're gonna find out that this accordion pocket is just too constricted for the reasons I mentioned. Other than if all you carry is a couple cables and maybe SD cards, maybe it'll fit in here. It's actually not that efficient for cables. And then you could fit like your power bank and like your mouse in here, sort of. It sort of closes if you have a smaller, you know, like, not power bank, AC adapter and mouse, but it's just not very pleasant. And then when you fold these flaps in here, it becomes quite thick for a tech kit. And it's just terrible usage of space and capacity. So, you know, in conclusion about this, like, I was like 90% sure when I saw it on the website that I was not gonna like it, but I have a really positive experience with the Black Ember Shadow pack. So I quite like that. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a chance. Unfortunately, my first impressions turned out to be true. Like, it's just got terrible problems with access, friction, too tight. It's not a good sling. It's not a good tech kit. And you could do better with virtually any other sling or tech kit out there. The redeeming qualities, though, to be fair, is it looks really, really cool. It's got great materials. It has this really nice, modern, eye-catching design. And in concept, the accordion pocket is cool. So if you have the right kind of really minimal flat loadout, that could work, I guess. Anyway, if you're in the market for a sling tech kit like this, I guess, what are some other bags you might want to consider? So this would be, actually, this is one of my favorite slings out there. This is the Bellroy Sling Mini. Now, I say Sling Mini because there is also a larger sling, Sling Mini, Sling. Let's leave this one out for a second here. The Sling Mini, as you can see, has the same general kind of design aesthetic. It's just a far superior sling in every single way. It has less organization theoretically, like you don't have that crazy accordion pocket, but it's just a much better sling. It's more comfortable to wear, it's less heavy, it has like enough organization for kind of your EDC goods, but it has this nice big compartment with an extra zipper compartment here and then the key leash in here. Like, I just find it so much easier to get stuff in and out of this bag. It's soft, it bends a little bit, it has some built-in expansion, super important because this one does not. You can't use it as a tech kit per se, but just a far better sling. This is actually one of my favorite slings out there. It also does have a fidlock buckle. I guess I said it was better in every single way. What I would say this one is better at is maybe if this is your vibe, like this design aesthetic is better. Also, this is waterproof. And say you like those high-tech materials, you like that organization, you just want a better sling. This is the Codavell Annex Sling, no, X-Pod, sorry. This is the Codavell X-Pod. I actually did a full review of this bag earlier on. I'll link that in the description below. So you're gonna have, first of all, you get some cool materials. You got this X-Pack here, you get this aluminum hardware, you got some fidlock, I think, yep, here. Fidlock here, same big fidlock buckles, but it also has tons of organization here. You've got this, quick stash pocket, you've got this main compartment with tons of, pockets and mesh and places to put things. And then you've got these external carry straps. You have these wing pouches on either side of the stabilizing wings here, which are usable. You have this built-in kind of expansion here, which is kind of the neat party trick. It actually expands out quite a bit. I show it in my full video here. This thing will puff out all the way. You could carry jackets and water bottles and cameras in here if you need to. Also, but this is like another way of accessing that main compartment in here. So 2 big compartments here. And it's more comfortable to wear, definitely, due to some of just the soft padding, the broader surface, and then just the broader strap compared to the, it's hard to see there, compared to the Black Ember. This is the Air. You can see kind of long, narrow, black, sleek looking bag. This is the Air times Oshman's, I think it's the City Sling. I'll put the name in the video here. Lots of organization on the outside, nice bright color, has the same kind of built-in expansion where it can kind of really, you can see kind of really expands out to fit a fair amount of stuff in there. Same front zip center axis pocket, slightly less organization in there, but still I find this bag overall is much more usable than this bag. This one much more. It doesn't have that accordion pocket, it has an external quick stash pocket though. One thing I wasn't crazy about, I feel like this strap is too far the other way and this strap is too thin. This strap is way too thick with this giant honkin' buckle. But it's still actually a pretty good sling, I think, for everyday use. I would choose it over this one. One of my favorite ones, this is the Bellroy Tech Kit. This is the regular size one. This is awesome. It's got all sorts of stuff, all sorts of capacity for cables and power bricks and extra power adapters and mice and whatever you would want. And it's just so much better, so much easier to use, so much smaller, even though it holds far more than this thing in a more usable fashion. Also make a Tech Kit compact or mini, whatever it's called. Just in general, I think that these are some of the best Tech Kits out there. I really like, again, very square structured, stands up on its own, unlike this beast. Far better Tech Kit choice. This is the Peak Design Tech Kit. Boom! That's what an accordion should be like, my friends. Flexible, big pockets, lots of space on each side, like usable, stretchy pockets. Just one of the problems with this thing, no stretch to anything, and it's just too small. This is a very big Tech Kit. I normally do not carry this Tech Kit, though I have it packed out for like my really large kind of, overseas trips. It also has a little bit of external access here, which I like. It has a pass-through, so you could do the same thing, put a battery bank here, run a cable out here and charge your phone in there. It will attach to their Peak Design anchors so that you can actually wear this like a sling up here. You put two anchors here and you can wear it with their strap like a sling as well. So I would, if I had to, I wouldn't normally choose this as a sling, but if I had to, this is, first of all, a far superior Tech Kit, albeit quite large, and I could use it as a sling. Definitely worth checking out. And so really, that is it. If you have any questions about this TKS, please go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If I can, I will answer them. If you have a bag you'd like me to review, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. And if I own it, I will review it. Thank you very much.